Okay, so from manager end, all the action has been taken. Let's log out of SAP. Let's go to SAP Admin Accounts. Go to Action. Okay, before that. Now Vene account is not there. Let me refresh. Go to Users. Here you can check Vene Austin. Account has been created. And same. Both the groups has been added. Is that you are looking for Vene? Do you want to check? Yeah, this is okay. Created in the directory in system automatically. Because some access request has been made. Yeah, makes sense. So actually, I'll tell you how I'm relating it. I don't know how this happens in SailPoint, but I'm giving you a business case. What happens in a year? For example, if I'm talking about, I'll talk about the business case. Usually we have some authoritative systems, right? For example, let's take an example of HR. And every organization wants that. Vene, I would like to ask you, in the HR system, will the provisioning happen? Basically. No, usually you don't do provisioning, but you do attribute changes. Because when you create the mailboxes, so email address has to go to the HR. People go back because email address never come from. The personal email address come from HR. But when your company email gets created, we have to send this value to HR systems. So this is one thing which happens in every organization. So I was saying that in HR. Usually company wants everything to be automated. So they want to rely on HR feed as much as possible because they don't want to have disconnect. So they want everything to happen as per the HR attributes. So they make HR thing authoritative fully. So when anything gets deleted, for example, somebody goes there in Active Directory and deletes the account, right? So MIM has a functionality that it takes a precedence in a sense. Because HR is the authoritative source. And record is still present in HR system, even though if you delete the account from Active Directory, it will be created on its own. Yeah, in the next cycle, it will be created on its own. Somehow similar to the way, for example, we deleted it, came back in the job, run it recognized. And it changed direction that the account has been deleted. But this approval process, which is making me somehow kind of curious, or maybe I'm not sure because in an organization this can happen in hundreds of users, right? So going for the approval which you are saying is a native thing, default thing, you probably have to write down another workflow for this, which looks very complicated to me, because there should have been something, some kind of a precedent or something saying that whenever any change is done in the Active Directory, disregard it. Whenever you run the job and you see that these accounts getting created back, there has to be some kind of a very easy setting right. Saying that okay, we'll disregard it if you do changes in the, because we control. As a SailPoint, we control the end directory. That's why we have a SailPoint Center system, right? We don't want anyone to come in and make changes in the end directories. So there should be some kind of an easy setting, kind of precedence or some kind of a checkbox saying that, okay, we take control of your in directory. Rather having a very creating another workflow to take care of it, because running workflows every time it consumes resources, and it's a time-taking process. So that's what I wanted to know. That's what I wanted to know. But okay. So if you understand what I'm saying, and if you know that kind of a setting you are trying to bypass the approval right. Yeah, actually in approval scenarios. To me it looks like I'm not bypassing the approval. What I'm saying is what you're showing is something where we need the approval. Usually there shouldn't be any approval. This is what I'm saying. Usual case, the simplest case. There shouldn't be any approval. But by introducing this thing, we're introducing approval. So in real-time scenarios, I don't think for these activities we need approvals because we are controlling it. Why would the manager be notified every time we do changes? Because you can do a number of things, but if managers are busy and doing all this stuff, then when would they do their general work? That's why we bring some system, so that we don't need people to manage things right. Vene, this is you. You have seen, but what I have seen. Manager or line manager. They have to take action. Whether the opponent is going to retain or remove as it is, let it as it is. That's what I have seen. Maybe some directory they would have set up like this, but for Active Directory I really doubt, because Active Directory there are hundreds of accounts. If you are not comfortable to enable the native change, you can disable for the particular application in that scenario. You could have done that. But if you don't recognize the native change, that account will not be created back right. It won't create. Yeah, but I want that function. No Vene, but in general scenario also. Active Directory. Any changes done on the Active Directory AD accounts. Approvals are always taken. Like, let it be manager approval or upper level approval, but approval is always taken on admin or approval is taken if you are doing something which is not in compliance with the HR. For example, the delinquent is coming from HR, but you have some kind of a system that you want to create a mailbox not for everyone. So you want approval okay. Then the active mailbox will be created, which is linked to the Active Directory. You definitely need approval whenever you want to do something which is not proposed by the HR. But general changes like deleting of the account, right? Your HR says the account has to be there, and you're deleting it from the end directly. In such cases, if you involve approvals, it'll be flooded because sometimes accidents happen. Sometimes many other applications or some kind of other activities. But the flow goes from the manager to the HR right. No for AD. No, there is no manager approval required in between, because when you join a company, all approvals are done on the HR system. Everything done on the HR system right. So finally, because we don't want to flood SailPoint or any kind of identity access management system, there's so many approval workflows so that it takes time. No, they want everything. I understand this the same point as you said. SailPoint has to be a centralized system. Don't need any approval, but dash. We have workflows for approvals. But for some of the applications we need workflows for approval. We need everything. but we have to use it as less as possible so that we can deliver the right capacity of the system. I'm not saying that this is a good way. You know functionality, but my only concern was, practically, how do we do it if we have not to involve this workflow? Yeah, I understand what you're saying. SailPoint has to act as a mediator, which can be trusted on the approval part. So approval will be generated for all kinds of application. If you want to bypass only for Active Directory, then you can add some condition in the workflow.